and welcome to the March Lit Gals. I totally forgot the name of our show. Hi, I do know my name is Martie Hooper, though, and I am glad to be here today with my very forgiving friends, Morgan Mason and Anna Cook. We are the Lit Gals, and now I do know what our name is. So we are glad to be here today. I am the digital alert. Oh, my word. I don't even know what my job is, ladies. This is what a day. I am the digital content manager for Keep Indiana Learning. And I'm pretty sure my name is Martie Hooper, and I'm pretty sure we're the Lit Gals, and I'm pretty sure I like to read. So let's hope this gets better in the next 90 seconds, because I'm going to turn it over to Anna, and please redeem the mess I just made.
Hi, my name is Anna Cook, and I am a professional literacy specialist with Collaborative Educators, and I just go all around Indiana and Illinois, spreading joy and cheer in literacy. Morgan?
Hi, I'm Morgan Mason. I am a professional learning specialist with Keep Indiana Learning, and I look forward to this every single month. I'm so excited for our show.
Well, thank you for giving me a moment there to figure out how to speak the English language. I am really intrigued about our banter topic for today. We had talked about that we should talk about this sometime, our banter topic here. But then a quote came out this weekend, and I'm like, oh, well, here's our intro. So the author of this book, which I highly recommend this book, called Hidden Potential, it'd be a fantastic book club book for educators. If your school does a book club, this would be a great one. So, but Adam Grant is a organizational psychologist, and his Instagram post over the weekend said, "You shouldn't finish every book you start. Abandoning a book is not an admission of failure. It's a sign of wisdom." And I was like, I'm super intrigued here. "You've decided to let go of sunk cost. The purpose of reading is to be entertained and informed. If a book doesn't bring joy or insight, it's time to move on." So you shouldn't finish every book you start. And I've seen some really hot takes in response to that quote. So what are your guys' thoughts? Because we've never talked about this before. What are your thoughts? Do you finish every book you start?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that. I am very kind of a type A. I finish what I start. I remember my wonderful Aunt Norma, who is an avid reader. She always said the first 100 pages. And if you still can't get into it, then close it and move on.
Okay.
And so, quite frankly, I might do a little bit less than 100 pages, but I do still keep her thinking in mind, and I do let it go.
Okay, I'm with you, Anna, and it's so funny that you have a person in your past that you admire as a reader who had a rule. My mom is where my love of reading came from, and she had a rule of 50 pages. So I had to give a book as a child 50 pages, and if I didn't love it, then I could quit. Now I'm at even less than 50 pages. I'm probably 15 or 20 pages in. If it's not, yeah, I've really cut, because my opinion is my to be read list is too long to spend time with books I don't love, except for my book club. That's going to be my asterisk to this, that I will abandon except for my book club books, because I feel a responsibility there to finish. Although the other people in my book club don't. We have plenty of people not finish.
It's funny that you should say that, but Morgan, I'll let you talk first.
Okay, so you both and Adam have inspired me that maybe it's okay if I walk away sometimes. I do. Okay, so let me preface by saying that I don't remember ever having a rule of or anyone in my life saying like, hey, give it this many pages before you walk away. But I am very type A. And so it is very, very, very hard for me to not finish a book that I've started. I will usually power through it. And I will even, like, if it's a book I'm really struggling to get through, I will read a couple chapters and then reward myself with a different book that I'm really excited about and into just to get through it. Like,
She plays like a psychological game with herself.
it is. Or I'll pivot, and if it's a book that I'm physically reading, I'll listen to it. Versus just trying to power through it reading wise, because I feel like then I struggle. But yeah, it's hard for me to walk away from a book.
So it's so interesting, Morgan, that you should say that, because I was going to ask you about that. I just finished a book, and there were a lot of French words, and I don't speak French, and I started to get very frustrated. But it was a book club book, and so I turned to the audio part of it, and I was fine. I flew through that. It was It was a great book.
Right. And you still comprehended what was happening.
I could not read that book, physically read it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea then, Morgan.
Yeah.
So, Morgan, I consider myself a type A person too, but I probably do not finish. I'm going to guess 2 or 3 books a year. That's probably a rough number for me to start and abandon. I'm just fascinated by your willingness to chug on ahead.
So what Adam said in his post about you walking away from a book doesn't make you a failure or whatever it was.
Right. Abandoning a book is not an admission of failure. It's a sign of wisdom.
Like, I think I need to start being more wise, because right now I'm like, I have to finish this book or else I do feel that. Like, it's silly, but I will feel like, oh, I failed. I started this book. I need to finish it.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so Morgan,
a couple months. Maybe I'll change my ways.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Just give us a call, Morgan. Yeah. Just give us a call. We'll work you through it.
When you guys notice me just feeling extra wise in the next few months, you'll know why.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say is whenever the next time you abandon a book, you just make sure you report back here, because Anna and I are going to be all kinds of curious as to what caused you to abandon.
Yeah. Had to have been a not great book.
Love it. I had no idea this topic would be so diverse in our answers.
Yeah, especially with the 3 of us. I thought we were all on this.
We usually align, but
very much so. Yeah. Good.
All right. Well, so Anna, you want to kick off our topic for today? I'm super excited about this one. A literary journey through culture. That's a fancy title. Can't wait to see what this is.
It's a very fancy title. And once again, all of us had our own interpretation. We haven't talked with each other about what we're going to talk about today. But when we came up with that title, I automatically thought about my wonderful father, who was an immigrant from Germany. And he and my mother always used to read Hansel and Gretel. And it is truly one of my favorites, still is. And so I immediately thought about Hansel and Gretel, and I thought to myself, what stemmed from this? I mean, how did it start? The Brothers Grimm wrote it. And so I did some investigation. I hope you girls don't mind. But it says the reason that Hansel and Gretel was written, it was written by the Grimm brothers. And in the original story, it talks about, Hansel and Gretel, and both parents kind of abandoned them. And then they, went to this evil witch's home that was in the dark forest, etc. And it talks about, I don't know if you guys realize this, but back in the 1300s, was a great famine.
Oh.
And during that time, people were literally starving. And many of the elderly people forewent food, choosing to starve to death to save the young people in their families and communities. However, others chose to abandon mouths that couldn't be fed. 1300s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, although not a true story, it was really based upon the famine of 1300.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
I never knew that backstory.
No, Anna, do you know when did the Grimm brothers write? Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh, I don't.
I don't either. Okay, it doesn't matter. I was just curious.
I'm sorry.
I feel like it's been forever.
But what I thought was very interesting, you guys, this just shows you how much this book stuck with me. I went back to Germany last year, and I was traveling with two very dear friends of mine, and we were going to go to the Black Forest. And the first thing out of my mouth was, "Hey, girls, do you want to go see the evil witch's house? Do you want to go look for it?" So it sticks with you. It definitely sticks with you.
One of those classes.
So the next book that I wanted to kind of bring up, and it is a graphic novel. I love it. I've read it to a lot of my middle school students, and middle school and high school absolutely can't get enough of this book. And it's called American Born Chinese. Mm-hmm. And it is about a boy from who is a Chinese American. And he really does find himself getting bullied and picked on, etc. And as I told you, it's in a graphic novel. And it's, like I said, one of my favorite, and definitely a book that I would highly recommend, especially if you've got students that might be immigrants or new to the United States. Mm-hmm. So those are my two.
And Anna, I love American Born Chinese. Honestly, I love everything by that author, but that's probably the first one of his books I read, and I loved it. Loved it.
Good.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like I took, like you said, we kind of all have different interpretations of this. So I chose the book The Paperboy by Dave Pilkey. And I remember reading this as a classroom teacher, but then recently I read it to my oldest at bedtime. He just found it on the bookshelf and read it. And the reason I chose it for our conversation today is because it's just a story about a paperboy. He's getting up early, he's riding his bike, he's delivering newspapers. And so it opened up this whole conversation with us because Wells has never seen a newspaper, let alone someone delivering a newspaper. So he was asking all these questions, and it was a really cool moment because I was telling him about, newspapers used to be, more popular than they are now. And a paperboy actually delivers the newspaper. So it just opened up this whole conversation about different jobs and things that aren't relevant to our life now, but at one point were more relevant. And especially based on where you live and what culture you are a part of, there's certain jobs that are more precedent than what we're used to.
I didn't realize that Dave Pilkey wrote. It's kind of like a picture book.
Yes, yeah, it is a picture book.
No way! I didn't know that. He wrote all of the Dogman series, right?
Yeah.
And I had no idea he wrote a picture book.
Oh my god!
Me neither.
And I didn't make the connection. I've never read the Dogman series. I feel like that's in my future eventually.
Oh yeah,
boys. Yeah. But I am familiar with the series. So so that's the same author.
Yeah.
So that was mine. But I do have another one that is not. I know I normally take the picture book lens, but I have a book that I read recently. I don't think I've talked about it on this show. It is one of the best books I've probably ever read. It is called Good Morning Monster. And there are 5 different stories within it, but it is a therapist that talks about the emotional journey that she's gone on with 5 different characters to help them in recovery.
Oh,
And the reason why I wanted to bring it up today is because each of the characters happens to be from a very different culture or environment. Like there is a Native American man, there is a Chinese man, there is a woman that grows up in the foster system. So they just all have such unique, interesting stories. And she's changed the names and a lot of the details but they're all true stories. And it is unbelievable, you guys. Like you have got to read this book. It left me like it was one of those books that you think about days afterwards, because just the things that they overcame in their life, like it's just I can't.
So you kept on thinking about it, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. And I read it on my Kindle, so I don't have the physical copy, but man, it's a great one.
Okay. And what was the title one more time?
It's called Good Morning Monster.
Oh, okay. Okay. It'll be in the show notes if you are watching this later or, listening while you drive. And I guess we should say that for every show. We always list all of our books in the show notes, but I know I just saw Anna pick up a pen. And so
I did.
That'll be. So Morgan, I have to ask, does it feel heavy and depressing?
I was going to say that it is heavy at times. And some of the things that they go through, like it's hard to fathom that happened to a human being. But as long as you know that going in.
Okay.
Fair. Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
So I love how we've all interpreted culture differently.
We're so good at this.
So good. But I think it all shows that this is part of, at least for me, why I'm a reader, because I'm never going to be a Native American man in a therapist's office. Yeah. It just cannot happen. Or I'm never going to be Hansel and Gretel, so I think that's part of why, at least for me, I'm a reader. It allows me to experience lives and cultures that I, as a born and bred Hoosier, this is the only one life I got to live. So, so I love our different takes. So mine, my first one, these are both YA books this time. This first one, Margarita Engle's Your Heart, My Sky. And Anna, this is a novel in verse. I know you enjoy those. So, and this is a pretty quick little read, I gotta say. Morgan, this is gonna possibly predate you. Not possibly, this will predate you. But Anna, I remember in the early 90s and the late 80s, when you would turn on the nightly news, there were on the regular boats of people trying to get from Cuba to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
All the time. And Morgan's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But this was a very normal occurrence on the nightly news. And I hadn't put any more thought into it until I picked up this book. And this book is set in 1991 in Cuba. And so it's the experience. It's obviously 2 kids, and there is a love story component, a YA love story component. But grandparents live through Castro taking over. And then what that experience is like, and how does that get us to the early 90s? So me as a teen in the early 90s, and I'm seeing this on the news, I'm like, I'm so glad I read this book as an adult, because now I understand what the heck was going on.
Wow.
So this is almost a historical fiction book, almost kind of, sort of. I learned so much, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful poetry, but
it sounds beautiful.
It is. And you guys would tear through it. It's just, it's a fast little read, and gosh, it's barely 200 pages. And it's beautiful poetry, and I just learned a lot. So there's my first recommend. My second recommend, I think I've said this on the show, that I am fascinated with the deaf community. It's just, my daughter, Her college roommate was a deaf education major. She grew up with a deaf father. And so it's just a fascinating culture to me that I'll obviously never be an intimate part of. I just, I tangentially know people in that community. And this book, when I went to read a little bit about it, because it's been a while since I've read it, but I found out that March is Disability Awareness Month. So I love it that I get to, I didn't know that. But this book, True Biz by Sara Novic, it is a Reese book club book, which I love Reese's picks for the most part. But let me read this quote to you. This quote is from Celeste Nigg, the author of Little Fires Everywhere. And this is how she blurbs the inside of this book. Part tender coming of age story, part electrifying tale of political awakening, part heartfelt love letter to the deaf culture. True Biz is wholly a wonder. It is phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
It's not a YA book. I really thought it was. Young adults could totally read this book because the main characters are teens and they're finding their political voice. They're finding who they are in culture. There's a nice little mystery bend to this story. And I just loved it. It was fantastic. So those are my 2 recommends today.
Okay. That'll be added to my list
for sure. Oh, I love this. All of them are so different.
So different. But then they all fit culture in a different way. And isn't that a neat thing to think about, that culture, we kind of throw the word around, but there's a lot of layers to it.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. All right. So Morgan, what are you reading or listening or both to right now?
I got both. So I am currently reading Dark Places by Flynn, which I actually, prior to this, looked up how to pronounce her name because I was like, is it Jillian? Is it Gillian? It is Gillian Flynn. And it's a mystery, but it's one of those that just, keeps you on the edge of your seat. Yes, and I'm almost done, and it's starting to get into a twist that I did not see coming. So I'm loving that one. And then I just started listening to, as in today I started, so I'm not very far into it, but I hopped on the Let Them Theory train. I'm sure you guys have heard about that. I don't know if either of you have read it yet, but I'm listening to that one. So I'll report back on that. I will say that
Does she read it?
Yep. Yes. And that's why I'm already intrigued, even though I'm not very far yet, because I can tell she's going to do a great job of just narrating it. So I'm excited about that one too.
She's extremely passionate about this project.
Yeah. And I keep seeing things about it everywhere. So I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it. And it's been a while since I've read like a self-help book. So give it a shot.
Good.
Yeah. Anna, what about you? What are you reading right now?
Well, girls, I've been invited to kind of a highbrow book club. Very, very high. Professors of English, high school English teachers.
You, Anna.
Let's just put it this way. Anna's favorite author will not be part of the book club.
She's not on the to be read list.
I wonder if they've even heard of her.
Probably not, but that's okay. I'm really stretching, girls. I'm really stretching.
Putting yourself out there.
So this one was called Bruno, Chief of Police. And Morgan, this is the one that I was talking about. So not that thick. It looked good. It really looked intriguing, etc. Until every other word was French. So Bruno is a policeman in a small village in France. And you guys, I just started getting so frustrated, give it German. I can do that, but not French.
Yeah.
And so, Morgan, I did exactly because, Martie, just like you said, it was a book club book. I've got to finish it. And so I picked audio, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it because they were reading the French words, not me.
That's so cool. You got over that hurdle of, okay, I don't know what half these words are.
Yes. I mean, like the first chapter, every other word was French. And I thought, I can't do this. I just can't. So anyway, so yeah, Bruno, Chief of Police. Come to find out, it's written by Martin Walker. And I think he's got 6. This is the first one, a series of 6 after this one on Bruno. So I think I may listen to him. Yeah. And it's just a lovely setting, in France. And it was nice. It's a great book.
Nice.
A book club book.
Also not a book my book club is ever going to choose.
Yeah.
I can't even get my friends to do a book club, so.
Yeah. All right. So, Morgan, you're going to be very excited about what I am currently reading. I am currently reading Morgan's copy of Looking for Alaska by John Green.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm probably a third of the way through it. I don't know. Let's see. There are 52 days before. Now, I still don't know what I'm before, but it's 52 days. That's what I'll read tonight. 52 days before. And I'm loving it. And so when I was reading it the other day, I thought, I'm just going to go look and see like how many of John Green's books have I read? And I've read all. This one, I've not read his like early catalog. I haven't read this one. I hadn't read The Abundance of Catherine's, and I haven't read Will Grayson. So
I have all those on my shelf. So just let me know when you need them.
Okay, because I've decided I'm going to read them all because, his new book comes out, I think, today.
It's this week. It is a nonfiction about tuberculosis.
I know.
I'm intrigued.
And I'm super intrigued. I'm already on the hold list at the library. So yeah, I don't get super excited about nonfiction very often, but John Green puts his name on it. I become very excited.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Morgan, I will be in touch when I get down.
What you think?
Yeah. So there we go. Well, what a great show today. Time flew as always. I am very excited about our topic for next month, though. Short stories with big impacts. We've never talked about short stories on the show before. I loved them as a teacher. So I'm excited to see where this conversation goes in April. So as always, be well.
Do good work.
Keep in touch.